Roku is an interesting stock to evaluate. The company has the best TV operating system in the US, Canada, and Mexico, and it undertook an interesting strategy during the inflationary time period. While most every other company raised prices on their products, Roku decided not to raise prices and absorb higher inflation, higher costs itself. It was an interesting strategy that looks like it's working out really well. So in this video, I'm going to evaluate Roku's expected free cash flow next year and apply its price to free cash flow multiple to make my stock price prediction for where I think Roku stock's price will be by the end of next year, by the end of 2025. So follow along. I'll share with you precisely where I'm getting all the numbers and estimates to make this calculation. And then you can see for yourself whether the numbers are accurate or too pessimistic or too optimistic. I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video. Moomoo is a trading platform that allows individuals to buy and sell stocks and other investments. I posted the link to Moomoo in the description below. If you use that link to sign up at Moomoo, it will help support my channel. More importantly, you can get special incentive for using my link. One of my favorite features of the Moomoo app is the stock screener. Let me show you how it works. So you all know I like to look for companies with a high operating profit margin. So in the Moomoo app, I can search for stocks that have an operating profit margin I'm looking for. So in the screener, I add a filter and I could type in here operating profit margin. And I prefer the trailing 12-month operating margin. I click add, and then it gives me a box here to show me what percent I'm looking for. Let's say I'm looking for companies that have a specifically 20 to 21% operating profit margin. I type that in and you can see the list of companies that come up, including some popular companies like Caterpillar and AT&T. All right, so one of the numbers I'm going to need for this price prediction is Roku's free cash flow expectation for 2025. And that's the number here. According to the analysts on Wall Street that are following Roku stock, they believe the company is going to deliver $340 million in free cash flow for 2025. Now, that would be an improvement from 2024, where the estimates are that it will finish the year with roughly $228 million in free cash flow. Roku's cash flows expectations are expected to increase over the next several years, along with the broader market it operates in, which is primarily in advertising for connected televisions. More and more people are switching to streaming content instead of watching through a cable or satellite subscription, and more of the streaming providers are coming out with ad-supported tiers that offer customers a lower monthly price if they're willing to watch some advertisements. And of course, that's working in Roku's favor because when you're on the Roku platform, the company gets a share of all of the ad revenue that's delivered on the platform. So those are the tailwinds lifting Roku's cash flows in current and future years. Now, I also need the number of shares outstanding for Roku. As of this recording, it has about 145 million shares outstanding. And I need the price to free cash flow, which stands at 71.88 as of this recording. Now, I also need the number of shares outstanding for Roku. As of this recording, it has about 145 million shares outstanding. And I need the price to free cash flow, which stands at 71.88 as of this recording. All right, so now that we have the numbers we need, we can go ahead and jump into my stock price prediction model. So let me draw your attention here first on the left-hand side where I have the 2025 cash flow forecast. That's the number I shared with you in the beginning of the video. The Wall Street analysts that are following Roku stock, they estimate 2025 free cash flow of $340 million. Remember, I also shared with you the number of shares outstanding for Roku stock, which was 144.86 million. And so if you divide the cash flow forecast with the number of shares outstanding, you'll get the free cash flow per share. And that number, or estimate, free cash flow per share estimate for 2025. And that number is $2.35. So if the company is on track to deliver this free cash flow next year, and the price to free cash flow remains at 71.88, the stock price could rise all the way to $169 per share. And for reference here, I have the company's current share price at $74.30. And I have this embedded as a formula which updates the company's current share price every 20 minutes as Google Finance updates this. And so when I make my 2025 target, you can compare it continuously with the updated current price to see if there is undervaluation and a premium to be observed. Of course, the channel members at the investor tier have access to these spreadsheets, and so you can look back at these and continuously reference them. As of course market prices fluctuate, you want to compare the market price with the target price to determine if there is upside or downside for any particular investment. So that estimate was if its price to free cash flow remains at 71.88. But I suspect that Roku's price to free cash flow will decline next year for several factors, most notably because the Trade Desk is coming out with a connected TV platform operating system in the second half of next year. And so anticipation of that launch could bring down investor enthusiasm for Roku stock and bring down the multiple, which is already pretty high. A price to free cash flow of 72 is already kind of high. And then when you add that new competition from a reputable company like the Trade Desk, which is a strong player in the advertising industry, it could bring down enthusiasm for Roku. So if the price to free cash flow falls to 60, then the stock price would still have significant upside to $141 a share. Even if the price to free cash flow falls to 50, the stock price will still rise all the way to $117 per share. And then even at the price to free cash flow of 45, you still have a Roku stock price increasing by roughly 50% next year to $106 per share. So the key element here is Roku's cash flow forecast. If the company is on track to hit this cash flow estimate, then it's very likely that the stock price is going to be higher next year. The only question would be how much higher. And so that's an interesting situation to find yourself in if you're following a company and it has so much upside here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I think the price to free cash flow is going to fall. And so where will it fall? I think somewhere in the range of 60 to 50 is where the price to free cash flow lands next year. And so if I'm looking at a stock price prediction for Roku, I'm saying something in the range of $115 per share to $130 per share by the end of next year, which offers significant upside here for Roku stock investors for 2025. And it's understandable. I have the stock rated as a buy. I've had it rated as a buy all year long in 2024, and it's one of the stocks that has the most upside according to this calculation here. If you liked the video you just saw and you want to see more just like it, please subscribe to the channel. I can't keep this channel free without the support of viewers like you. And if you're already subscribed, thank you, and I appreciate your support.